Welcome back. Yes, you're right, you're looking at a Sport Glide, and I'll be given the keys. We're going to have a ride around, a bit of a motorway run and up through some countryside. I'm going to tell you what I think about the bike. So we're on board a Sport Glide. It's a 2020 model year. I've picked it up from a dealer, just having a fun ride on it. Now it's got a 107 motor on board, so in metric that's 1749cc, I think. It's got a stage 2 cam kit on board, so it's been given a little bit of extra pep, some more torque, some more horsepower, heavy air breather. Sounds like a Harley should, gets along like a Harley should. And the price of this bike was pretty amazing. Low kilometres. You really wouldn't need to do anything more to this bike, and I was curious enough, I thought I'll give the dealer a call and say, listen mate, can I take it for a run? He said, yeah, sure, come on down. So here we are. Good thing about taking bikes for a ride in Auckland anyway, and the dealers that I've approached, is that they have too many restrictions on it. They'll throw you the keys and say, have fun, come back, maybe an hour or so, whatever you want. And away you go. So that's a really great way to get to experience a bike. Now it's not going to be a detailed review, of course, not long enough for that, but it's just going to be, how does it feel, what do I get out of this particular ride. Now I have had a Sport Glide out from Auckland to Harley-Davidson a couple of times before. Once as a loaner bike, once as just a kind of a test ride review where I pretty much circled Auckland and the thing. Great bikes, I enjoyed it. One of the good things about the bike is it's kind of modular nature. It's got, with the setups, you've got 4 different looks that you can have with the bike. They come stock standard with the fairing. It's a little thing on the front, you can see just in front of the bars there. A fairing and 2 bags, and they clip on, clip off, so it's very easy on, very easy off. So in that sense, you can have 4 separate looks. You can have it with the fairing and the saddlebags. You can have it with just the fairing only. You can have it with just the saddlebags only, or you can have neither the fairings nor the saddlebags on and essentially have a naked cruiser. So it is adaptable in that way, and it's real quick, real easy to switch between those looks. So if that's the kind of thing that you're after, then this is a good bike to consider. The bike sits really low, I have to say, which is great for all sizes of riders. I'm 6 foot, so I don't have any real problem touching the ground on any bikes, but if you're a shorter rider, you're not going to have any trouble at all flat-footing this bike, which is a good thing. You need that kind of confidence, because the bikes, yeah, they're heavy enough. It's a cruiser, it's a soft tail cruiser, and the weight with all the fluids ready to run, it's about 320 kilo. So much the same as my Fat Bob, but I have to say, in comparison to the Fat Bob, this bike feels somehow just a little bit lighter or something. Maybe it's skinnier, I don't know, but it does feel like a much more nimble bike. Maybe that's because it's a little bit lower and the handlebar's a little bit wider. It just got a different feel about it. Maybe that's all it is, I don't know, but as with all of these big old cruisers, yeah, they can be heavy, but once they start rolling, they're all pretty smooth. They run real nice. Keep them moving, they'll just look after you. They'll want to stay upright, they want to just travel the road, they want to eat up the miles. Now, as far as eating up the miles go, this has got a stage 2 kit on board, like I said, which means it's had cams done, it's got a heavy breather. They've done some exhaust work as well. I'm not quite sure, did they put the full exhaust set on with the header pipes, not sure, but it pops along pretty good. It's a 107 motor. Now my Fat Bob's got a stage 2 kit in it also, got a 255 cams on board, which delivers a power range in about the 3,000 to 5,000 rev range, so it's giving power pretty much all the way through. This bike seems to do the same, but it doesn't have that much more pep that I'd say to myself, man, if I'm looking for a power boost from the bike that I'm currently riding, this is the bike to go to. It doesn't say that at all. This bike seems to deliver about the same, even with the 107 motor versus 103. it seems to be about the same as what I'm presently getting, so that's not a big point of difference. Stopping power on this bike, it's only got a single disc at the front, which I compare always to my Fat Bob, which has got 2 discs at the front. It's got some great stopping power, that bike, and I find that with a heavy bike, if you're planning to every now and again give it a twist, geez, some guy mowed his lawn here, look at this, left half the paddock on the road, and that's kind of dangerous. It's a good thing it's a dry day because you're not going to get into trouble there. Anyway, talking about brakes, the braking on the Fat Bob, love it. That bike can stop on a dime. This one, it's a little bit more, you have to put a little bit more planning into stopping. Brakes are still good, they're fine, but it's not quite as good as what I'm used to on my bike. Suspension, it travels real nice, and it has got a hand adjustable. You don't need any tools to adjust the preload on the bike. It's got a single shock on the swing arm. It's not the dual shock thing like with the Dynas, so it's easily adjustable, and I'm sure it can be made to ride real well. I did give myself a bit of a jolt down here. There's a bit of a crack in the road that I didn't really see, and gave myself boom right there, quite a bump. Shortened my spine a little bit, I think, but wasn't the bike's fault. And to be fair, when I picked up the bike, I didn't do any review or change to the presets on the suspension. I just jumped on board and fired her up and went. So probably if you adjusted that, maybe I'd even have a smoother experience over those unexpected bumps. The one thing I didn't quite ever gel with on this bike was the view to the instruments. Now the instrument dial sits on the tank, which is not unusual, it's the same on my bike, but for some reason the angle on this thing was not quite right, and it seemed to always be catching the sun, and I could never really get a decent look at the dial whenever I happened to glance down, which is not the experience that I have on my Fat Bob. If I glance down there, I can see what I'm doing. I can see the speed, I can look at my RPMs, I can gears, all that stuff. No problems at all. With this one, it was never a first glance operation, so whether it's got a slightly different angle around that, I'm not really sure. I found that a bit odd. The other thing I noticed with the bike was that the front forks seemed a little bit spongy. It was quite loose at the front, and again, all of these things kind of, I love the bike, it's a good bike, but it wasn't enough of it, good things going on with it to make me think, you know what, I really need to make a strong case to get this bike and ride it home. Pretty happy to ride it. It's a good day out, and I'll make a great bike for somebody. This time though, it's not for me. Anyway, that's all for today. Take care out there, ride safe. See you out there.